are now listening to the Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sportz. And y'all, this is officially, we're 3/4 through 100. We're almost at 100 episodes. Tonight is episode 75. So honored to have everybody tuning in. Weekend, episode after every after every episode. It means a lot to us to have you guys take an hour to an hour and a half out of your schedule to come and just have some fun talking sports with us. It means a lot to us. My man sitting right here to my left, Mr. Matt. How are you doing, brother?
How's it going, man? Doing good. Can't complain. Just taking it day by day. Ready for more sports, man. How about yourself?
Well, you could complain, but ain't nobody want to hear that stuff, Hey, it's been an interesting week. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. My man sitting right here, this guy right there, Mr. Hank Russell.
Okay.
What's good?
Oh man, blessed and highly favored. I got my baby powder on ready to go.
That's right. Let's rock it. Hey, our boy Shane will be joining us. He is running just a smidge late. He's stuck in traffic. As you know, when traffic happens, happens.
Don't be late, dude, or don't get hurt. You can be late as you want to, but don't get hurt.
And for those who are stuck on the downtown connector in Atlanta, go ahead, just open the phone up, watch the show, and thoughts and prayers go out to the gentleman and the family of the whole situation going on in the connector. We are obviously, hopefully they get the help that they need. So just be cautious. Hey, real quickly, guys, we want to give our heartfelt thoughts and prayers out and condolences to all the families that were affected with the DC plane crash. Obviously, it's never a good time when tragedy strikes, but the fact that it happened and the unfortunate loss of 67 lives, it hits everybody right here. I was just telling the guys, I saw a story on the news. A father was being interviewed. He lost his wife and his 12-year-old daughter, who is part of the figure skating crew that unfortunately lost their lives there. And he said he has not gone into his daughter's room yet, hadn't even opened the door yet, and then also has not slept in the bed of his because the realization that if they do that, when he does that, there will be his wife and his daughter gone. It's obviously heartbreaking. Look, you guys know I'm a girl dad times 4. I have 4 beautiful girls. Matt's a girl dad. Everybody who has children, hold them tightly, love them, hold your family, and no matter what, if you get mad at anybody, make sure you always pick the phone up and call and tell them, "Hey, I love you," because you never know when it's their last time you'll hear from them. So our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all those who have been affected by this, and we will always remember them. We have a really good show lined up tonight. We have our good friend Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game joining us, and everybody knows we have an excellent time with him. Abe always gives us really good content. Can't wait to interact with him again. I have a lot of fun with it. Matt enjoys it too. Hank, this will be your first time getting to interact with Abe.
You know what though? But it's ironic that you mentioned that. I know Abe by reputation because I was I'm in radio, or I was in radio, and I know Abe by reputation. I just couldn't put a face to a name or whatever, and I haven't seen what he looks like yet. But I know him by reputation only, and obviously I'm excited about this because fellow radio broadcaster. So even though I haven't been in the business in 4 years, so. I know Abe by reputation because we have 92.9 ESPN in here in town, and he's got his own 92.9 where he's at, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting him. I really am.
And and his show is actually the coolest name by far. Look, he's in Atlanta, but it's called the Abe TL Show. So clever, love it. I mean, it's always fun to have. So you're gonna enjoy him.
Okay. I have heard of it then. Yes, I have. Okay. So, yes.
So you're going to, like I said, you're going to have so much fun with him. He's a hoot.
I look forward to it.
The last time he was on, we were able to create a nice, wonderful short. And guys, I can see him in the background. He is smiling, so we can't wait to bring him on. Hey, we're going to talk some WNBA talk. the Atlanta Dream, man, they're cooking, and for good reasons. We're gonna talk some Atlanta United. Can't wait to hear this because Abe, is an avid United person. He also covers them, so we want to hear what his thoughts are on the moves that Atlanta United is making. We're gonna talk, whatever and whenever. Hey,
NBA All-Star selections. That's what we can talk about.
so that, I definitely. Oh, I can't wait to hear Abe's thoughts on that too. But guys, this man right here, we have a new. All right, the news is officially going to be broke. Matt will have the promo video put out, created, edited, and I'll put it out tomorrow. Hank, let everybody know what your new segment is going to be called, sir.
Well, we are going to have one thing that I understand in this world is that we love sports, but one thing that doesn't get neglected and does at the same time is combat sports and pro wrestling. And I want to do my a little thing under the umbrella of the Sportz Nutz, and talk mostly wrestling and combat sports. And if that's like, we won't take too long, we won't make this like a really long show. We appreciate y'all that stick with us for these 1.5 2-hour shows and stuff like that. But I promise you, man, like I'm a short burst guy. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna do it shorter. We don't have to, unless the discussion is like extremely interesting, which, it is pro wrestling and MMA. Not everybody watches it, but it has this cult following. And I want to reiterate that because, it's kind of like the Friday of sports. Friday is a classic movie, but it didn't get a lot of attention when it first came out. And quite frankly, wasn't nominated for any awards and doesn't get recognized by anybody but stoners. So that's my thing there. And I'm going to try to, maybe we could, if we have like let's say we got the topic the first topic we'll talk about will be the Royal Rumble, right? If we can get through that in 30 minutes, maybe I'll just throw in a little like random celebrity topic or something like that, just to make the show fun. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know how often we will do it, but we will definitely keep you informed during the WrestleMania season and for the top MMA matches. I know they got one this Saturday. I'm not paying $80. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to watch that one. Unless Matt and Shane and Brandon do it. I'm not doing it this Saturday. I'm sorry. I'm so broke I can't even pay attention. So
hey, you know what? Guys, we're excited about it. We can't wait for you guys to tune in. Again, Matt is editing the promo video tonight. It will be out tomorrow. I promise you. It's going live. We are going to be blasting it so you guys can tell all your friends. Look, we have a new destination. Hank's YouTube channel is watching. We have everybody ready to go. Let's get it going. Can't wait. Real quick, give a shout out to Tequila's Grill and Easily. Look, guys, they have some of the best Mexican food, bar none. Matt will tell you we don't miss a meal when we go to Tequila's. We love everything about it. Shane absolutely loves the buy one, get one 50% half off happy hour drink specials they have there. We love the homemade salsa bar, the queso, you name it. Tequila's Grill and Easily has everything. Stop on by 5455 Calhoun Memorial Highway, Easily, South Carolina, 296-480. Better yet, give them a call today and get your catering order. They take catering orders as well. 864-307-8028. That's Tequila's Grill and Easily. All right. I'm ready if you're ready. Y'all ready?
I'm ready. I'm very curious.
The prodigy son has returned. What is good, Abe?
What's going on, guys? Couple things. Hank, tomorrow's card's on ESPN Plus. They're in Riyadh. Prelims start at 9. You got the main card at noon. So I'm going to be tuned into the UFC tomorrow.
What, is it during the day?
Yeah. The prelims at 9 and the main card starts at noon. Israel Adesanya's main eventing. So there you go.
Well, maybe I'll just go to my local pub then.
If they can get ESPN Plus. Again, it's on ESPN Plus, so you shouldn't have to pay if you got a subscription there. So
okay, cool. By the way,
I have it too.
By the way, it's good to put a face with a voice here, man. I have heard you by reputation before.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Reputations can go one of two ways. Hopefully, it's in the positive, not the negative. So,
no, man, we have so much fun having you on, Abe. I mean, like, the fact that you take time out of your day to come hang out with us means a lot to us, man. It really does. 1,000 thank yous to it. So, what's been going on with you in these this last few months, sir?
Well, we watched the downward turn of the Atlanta Falcons season into a ugly mess of offseason discussions, and now we're sitting pretty in the NBA draft at 15. I can't wait to see which tight end they select there. The Atlanta Hawks season with 34 games remaining is officially over thanks to Jalen Johnson's injury. So that's what's happening there. The Dodgers took about a third of our World Series title winning team from 2021. And so we'll see what the Braves can do. And then I know you guys mentioned a little bit of Atlanta United. Atlanta Dream also on the upward swing. So interested to see how those seasons play out when they get going. But unfortunately, we're sitting here with another offseason of draft discussion and how to get things right with the Falcons. And that's it's like 7 years running now. We're having the same talk.
Yes.
You know, like I told you, it really gets ridiculous to say this year in and year out. Oh, there goes another. What is it? That song. Dun, 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 another one bites the dust. Okay, and I want to tag that onto this too, Abe. Do you remember on the Family Guy episode where Stewie said this is about as bad as going to a Mets game, and he goes, "Welcome to the Shea Stadium, home of the New York Mets." Crack, and there goes the season. Like that. That's kind of what it reminds me of. What's going on with the Atlanta Falcons? Like, you know, there was this huge hype. We got Kirk Cousins. We've built for the future, and just in case though, we drafted Penix Jr. and then Kirk Cousins fell off his rocker. Don't know what's transpired with him. Like, you know, if he's truly just done playing, I don't know. But we saw Penix. He did good. But then Matt and I both. I think I'm probably like every other Atlanta fan. About damn near came close to punching our TVs with the timeout situation. As you saw, we created a short. Matt and I were beyond livid about the timeout debacle that Raheem Morris did. So the question I had asked Matt was who to blame. And I'm going to ask you, who do we ultimately blame for the epic collapse of the Atlanta Falcons 2024 toilet bowl season?
Yeah, well, look, I know frustrations are running in a bunch of different directions. I would say this. The Terry Fontenot discussion and whether he's to blame really doesn't have to do what happened over the course of this past season. I think he's removed from how this season turned out. And here's the most frustrating thing is I'm convinced something was wrong with Kirk Cousins and we're never going to find out about it. So when you ask me like who's to blame for the whole season, it starts with Kirk Cousins. Like if something's wrong with him and he's not telling and not being open and honest with the coaching staff and with management and with the franchise, that's a real problem. I refuse to believe that he forgot how to play football. I refuse to believe that defenses got tape on him and that's why it fell off the way it fell off. It just doesn't make sense. I still believe there was something physical that maybe also turned into something mental, but has to be an issue. But I look at Raheem Morris, and this was, in my opinion, over the course of a season, he was a net negative. And it's not just the timeouts. Like if you go back over the course of the season, there's a lot of things that you look at and say, boy, your head coach probably prevented you from winning in this game. I think you start with that Steelers game, right? He approves an offensive game plan where you're taking every snap out of pistol that was essentially non-competitive offensively in a game in which you didn't surrender an offensive touchdown. You lose to the Steelers like whatever it was, 18-15 or whatever that game was. You go through. It became obvious 2 games into whatever slide Kirk Cousins was undergoing that there was an issue. The change needs to happen then. It's certainly out of that Broncos game. The change needs to happen. That's your bye week. I don't care that it's only 2 losses, not 4 straight losses. The change had to happen. And you probably don't lose that Chargers game on the flip side of that. Because, again, you held a team to no offensive touchdowns and you were non-competitive offensively. And then, yes, the timeout situation as well. So, in my opinion, Raheem Morris was a net negative on the season. That can't that can't happen. Like, that's unacceptable for your head coach to have negative impact. Very few head coaches have positive impact, if we're going to be honest. I think most are neutral, and that's probably what you're hoping for. In my opinion, that wasn't the case this season with Terry Fontenot, or excuse me, with Raheem Morris. But I just have a tough time blaming Terry Fontenot. I think he made a decision, and it for half the season, it looked like the right decision in regards to Kirk Cousins coming and leading this team to an NFC South title. Ultimately, it didn't happen. You want to call it foresight, whatever. He takes Michael Penix. Michael Penix comes in and looks okay. I mean, it's tough to tell, obviously, with the sample size, and we'll get a lot more into it over the course of the next season when we really find out what Michael Penix is made of. But, like, if Penix turns out to be the franchise quarterback that we're looking to find since Matt Ryan started his decline, then I don't think you can really blame Fontenot for some of the decisions that have been made, at least more recently. If you want to go back and talk about Kyle Pitts, that's a different discussion.
And you brought that in real well. Go ahead, Hank.
I was just going to say, the only thing I will disagree with you on is that I believe that, we have seen enough of Penix just in the short amount of time that I know that he has great potential to be the franchise quarterback. I think that it was more than a taste. It was, he got put in some precarious situations during.
Yeah, I just want to caution getting too high and mighty when you don't have the real sample size. Like, right. And I don't disagree with you. I do agree with potential, but we haven't really seen the league adjust to Michael Penix. And if you go back just historically, like, go back and look through a lot of different quarterbacks. 4 games is the number. Like they tried to sell us on Desmond Ridder after 4 games. If you remember how Cooper Rush was after 4 games, like 4 games is the number where a quarterback has an advantage, and then defensive coordinators will adjust. I always wait until I see the adjustment period for the defense, then have the quarterback readjust. And then you play the career game of both sides are going to keep readjusting. And if he can succeed at that point, I agree with you. Like he's shown the arm, he's shown the ability to throw guys open. He's shown, for the most part, things you want to see, but he wasn't like the most impressive quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, they did still struggle and lost games at the end. But the potential is there. Like, it's not a stretch to, like, selling us on Desmond Ridder, right, as the quarterback and trying to get us. That was a stretch. It's not a stretch to believe Michael Penix is the guy. I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, I just optimist, and I'm speaking optimistically, obviously. But of course, and you use that word potential. Absolutely. We were just talking about this about, Josh Allen. They want to give him $900 million based upon potential. And I just don't, $600 million is appreciation for what you've done, but $900 million is, potential. And I don't think that Penix is ready to take that helm yet until he has that 4 games, like you just said, and see where he can run from there. Because, I mean, unless they keep Kirk Cousins, or they don't keep Kirk Cousins, who knows what's going to happen in the offseason with him. So, but if they keep Kirk Cousins, they probably need to do a little bit more of a mixture of putting Penix in there, as far as, because I think I don't think his best days are in front of him, but I don't think his worst days are behind him either. So,
now, I got to ask you this, Abe. The burning question everybody wonders is what are they going to do with Kirk Cousins? Are we going to have him as a $40 million backup, or are they going to actually cut the ties, take the dead cap hit, and he become a cap? We get a cap casualty. Or is he going to magically waive his no-trade clause and go wherever?
Well, look, I'll say this. And look, the Atlanta Falcons, Terry Fontenot has come out and said that we are comfortable with having him as our backup. There's a couple ways to kind of look at that. If you're playing poker, obviously you might be bluffing. And the one thing I like, just like for me as a fan, like kind of like out of pettiness, like, I don't want to see a situation where he becomes this year's Russell Wilson and some team gets him for like $1.5 million. So, like, if you're asking me personally, I am comfortable with him being a $40 million backup. I think you look at some of the comments made by Michael Penix after they switched roles, and Michael Penix was the starting quarterback. And he talked about how significant and how helpful Kirk Cousins was, even in that moment, to his development. And again, Penix is still young. There's still a lot that he hasn't seen. It was not the worst thing in the world to have that sort of guy helping Michael Penix out. So I wouldn't necessarily hate that. In terms of waiving a no-trade clause, if it's the right situation, I have no hesitations believing that he would. I don't think he's going to be sent off to some 4-win team that has no chance to win. But if you can find the right situation, I do think that's under consideration. I just don't know if you save as much money as people really want you to be saving by just cutting him. Like I just don't know if the money saved is worth downgrading your backup position, not having that voice for Michael Penix to bounce things off of. So I know I'm in the minority here, like a very strong minority. I actually don't know if they're just going to straight cut him for the cat hit. I actually do think there's a chance that they keep him on the roster and lean on him to build Michael Penix up. And then obviously if something happens with Penix and you need Kirk to come in, hopefully he's healthier than whatever we saw the last couple of games of his time as a starter in Atlanta.
You're right. And I think Penix is going to be fine. I really do. But, there's always that possibility of what if he does this, but you tagged on there with the Desmond Ridder situation. Look, Desmond Ridder, for people who sat there and said, oh, Desmond Ridder was going to be the savior. I sit there and I tell you, you're blind, because Desmond Ridder was never going to be the long-term solution for Atlanta. And, Desmond, he may do good. He may finish. He may get re-signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. I just said Oakland Raiders. He may do good with the Raiders. I don't know yet. But with the sense of Penix, though, and we've asked everybody, like, who does Michael Penix remind you of? And for me, so he has a lot of the characteristics of Michael Vick with the arm, but he has a lot of the characteristics for his accurate readings like Warren Moon had. Who do you think he reminds you the most of?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a tough question. He is athletic, but he's not going to use it as much as you probably want him to. I might almost pull like a Donovan McNabb when he was in his prime. It's a guy that can move and can get you runs when you need, but he's not going to scramble the way like Steve McNair did or Mike Vick. He's going to be a lot different with how he uses his legs. He's not even going to run the way that like Josh Allen does or even Patrick Mahomes. But he's got a huge arm. There's no denying what he can do. He's just got to learn the game and the speed at which the game is played and learn his receivers. And he's well on his way there. I don't want to make too many comparisons because he's just looking to be himself. He's obviously a lefty, which kind of limits the comparisons to begin with. But I just want him to be a starter. Like you take your pick, man. Like just be better than like Ryan Tannehill. Like be better than that like average core of guys that's like now they would be ranked 17th or 18th in the league. At the time they were like borderline top 10 or 12. Like the Matt Schaubs, like be a guy who's like obviously a bona fide starter. You don't have to be the top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but be above average. Like, that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, I would look to be like Nick Foles.
I mean, better than that. That guy was barely a starter, but yeah, like you could be Trevor Lawrence, right? Like that's kind of where Trevor Lawrence is. He's probably like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10th best quarterback. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, like if you can kind of get in line with those names.
Yeah, like a Tua or somebody like that,
Tua's interesting because obviously he's got the physical stuff. He is lefty, obviously, but he feels like he needs his teammates a lot more than his teammates need him. So I'm still unsure on what Tua is.
Oh yeah. Maybe
that's the burning question. That's a good comparison. Geno Smith possibility. Hey, real quick before we go any further, I do need to give a special shout out to a good family friend of ours. Actually, just a coworker of Cassie's. His name is John, Mr. Duran. He is watching right now because he is doing a fundraiser for his class for an 8th grade field trip to do a trip to Atlanta. John will, if you can, post on the stream here, letting everybody know. I know you're broadcasting, watching us. You can post it here. We will read it. Go on our YouTube page, whatever. We will read how to get in contact with you to help donate for this 8th grade field trip. Just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Duran. They are doing a 8th grade field trip to Atlanta. They're going to do like the Atlanta Pass, where you can do like 3 or 5 attractions in 3 days, kind of thing. So just check that out. Again, we will have all the information needed. He will post it and we will share it. But I want to give a special shout out to him. Hey, we do have a good friend of ours, actually, Abe. This gentleman that I'm going to bring on with us as well. He is part of another network. He is based out of the Dallas area. He is a Texas affiliate. He's a good friend of ours. His name is Dustin. Their show is called Tired Sports Network. He wanted to come on because he actually he wants to kind of pick your brain about some things too. So, Dustin, man, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. All right. So, Abe, we've talked about this whole situation with the Atlanta Falcons and having that the collapse of epic proportions. So, the next question I want to tackle with you is Matt even just hinted at it, the NBA All-Star voting. It's a travesty. What is going on with everything? So I gotta ask you this, and then we'll go around the roundtable as well. What exactly does Trae Young need to do to get some freaking recognition? I mean, the dude leads the league in assists. He leads. He's in the top 5 as the most clutch points. And yet they put someone like Tyler Hero, which one of the people said they said, "Oh, he's better than Tyler Hero, but what does he need to do to get better?" Like, what is it exactly that Trae needs to do to get the recognition he absolutely deserves?
Yeah, I mean, it's like not a satisfactory answer, but it's probably the accurate answer is the team needs to win games. I mean, you're looking at a team that's in the midst of a 7-game losing streak and is now 4 games below 500 as these decisions were being made by the coaches for the reserves. In the meantime, the Miami Heat have climbed into the 6th spot in terms of the standings. And like a lot of people feel stats are empty. You could tell me about the clutch points, but what does that really mean? Like it also could just be he has more clutch. And by the way, obviously I love Trae Young. I do think he's an all-star. I'm not trying to make the case against him, but like clutch points is a massively flawed stat. Like clutch points happens because the Atlanta Hawks can't blow anyone out. And for the most part, until recently, they aren't getting blown out. They're in a bunch of close games, so he has more opportunities to score points late in close games. Like clutch points is not really the most relevant stat that you've ever seen. But in the meantime, Trae Young's shooting numbers are way down. The Atlanta offense as a whole, efficiency-wise and where they rank in the NBA is way down, and he's certainly not making the all-star team on anything he's doing defensively. So it's a tough sell when you look at what Trae has done in the past, previously being a 30-10 guy, a 28-10 guy, and now you're telling me at 22-10 or 22-11.5 that this is the best season of his career, and you're sending mixed messages. He's playing more within the system that the head coach wants him to play. Should he get credit for that? I absolutely believe so. I think he's taking better shots. The shooting percentage maybe isn't reflecting that, and so when you're dealing with the on-the-court discussion, that's one thing. Now, when you get to the voting process, that's the real root of the issue. You got to have a little bit more input from the fans on who they want to see. Trae finished 5th in the fan voting. I think he finished 6th in the player voting, ahead of guys like Tyler Hero, ahead of a couple guys that were named as all-star reserves. And you just got to figure out why the coaches are not picking who the players respect and who the fans want to see. Is there a power struggle there? And obviously the coaches feel one way about Trae, and players and fans and media potentially feel a different way. But look, you're always going to have someone that's on the outside looking in. I mean, in the Western Conference, Kyrie Irving and Domantas Sabonis, like, how are these guys not all-stars? Like, Sabonis, you could argue, is, I mean, the second best big man in basketball potentially behind Jokic, if you really wanted to argue that, and he's left off completely as well. Your team's got to win, and they're running through the same issue for Sabonis as you do as Trae. And your play on the court, what those numbers become, have to eventually turn into wins. And we can stop with the media and the coaches and who insert group here hates Atlanta. Like when Atlanta was the 1 seed, they had 5 all-stars. Like it's just not a real thing. but you can't be on the downward trend the way you are and underachieving as a team and expect to get recognition for it.
Amen. Hey, we had a friend of ours, Trey Davis, just asked, how about LaMelo Ball? Because LaMelo Ball has had a pretty significant season so far, and he too was left out of the All-Star voting.
Well, he was number one in the fan, but ultimately it wouldn't matter because he's hurt again, and that's part of the issue. He would have been replaced. But look, he was number one in the fan vote. Like as much as y'all may not like it, that has to count for something. And if it's a popularity contest and one city does a better job getting their fans to vote, then so be it. Like we put up with that in baseball, and it largely evens out. But like if the fans vote for it, like that's got to be taken more into account than the media and the players and the coaches.
Absolutely, you hit the nail. Hey, this is from our good friend, Mr. Duran. He is letting you all know where to reach out to him. Again, we have his information here, right there on the screen. Also, it's in the chat box. We will post it on our Facebook page as well. Reach out to him and ask how you can help. I promise you, it's for a good cause. All right, so Matt, I got to ask you this. We heard what Abe said. What are your thoughts on the All-Star voting? Okay, I'm going to rephrase this. I'm going to ask all you this whole question all together. Matt, I'm going to start with you. How can we fix the All-Star voting for the NBA right now?
Ooh, I don't know if we'll be able to fix it. It's kind of like the actual All-Star game, man. There's many answers, but you don't know what's going to fix it until it actually happens. With this, I think it's just too many quote-unquote hands in the pot, man, as far as the All-Star voting goes. I just think, honestly, they just need to let the either have the fans vote, and then the coaches pick the reserve. The fans pick the starters, coaches pick the reserves, or something to that effect. But granted, you don't want. I think at some point, somebody who wasn't even playing had more votes than anybody. But
was it Chet Holmgren last year?
Yeah, I think it was. But you have to have it controlled. There's something. It has to be maybe some prerequisites. Maybe And I think it goes to you have your fan vote. Maybe the fan vote goes maybe a certain percentage or something to that effect. They have to figure it out. They can figure it out. They get paid a lot of money to figure these things out. Adam Silver can figure this out. But as far as Trey goes, man, I have to agree with Abe here. I mean, you can look at it from one hand, like what more does Trey Young have to do? His second year in the league, he averaged 30 and 10. It's his second year in the league. Now even though his shooting numbers aren't as good as they were, and he never really had good shooting numbers to begin with, to be honest. But he has to win. They have to win. They have to, win games. You can't sit here and tell me Darius Garland is having a better season than Trey Young, or Tyler Hero is having a better season than Trey Young individually. But as far as team, you have to reward his success. That's what the NBA did. So Trey's gonna have to decide, man. Is Atlanta gonna be the place for him to do it, or I've always said Atlanta needs to give him another star. I understand they want to do it organically, but they have to give him another star. Otherwise, I can see Trey leaving in a couple of seasons.
Oh, that hurts to hear you say that. Till you can leave. All right, so I'm gonna throw it to you, Dustin. I want to say you're the commissioner of the NBA right now. Obviously, viewership is significantly declining. Your NBA All-Star game has turned into a joke. It's an absolute laughing stock now. I mean, as an example, last year you had a 200-point game, which is not what you want to see happen. How can you fix the NBA All-Star game and voting right now?
Well, the NBA All-Star weekend is kind of turned into a joke, in my opinion. I'm not sure what direction they're going in. It seems like it's, for one, when it comes to the voting, it's just all popularity based. That's it. There's definitely better players that could be in that aren't in at all. Like Trey Young's one of them. But it's come down to it. They want to see the LeBrons, the Durants, those players in, but they don't care. They don't even care about the game. They just want to see all these people team up and play together and score 1,000 points. That's what it's come down to. It's not even fun to watch no more. The best event in the whole weekend, in my opinion, is a slam dunk. I know it's kind of always has been, but it's just turned into – it's just a joke to me personally. I mean, it's all I said. It's just popularity. I want to see the best players play with each other. I mean, yes, the players that are playing that are starters, they're great players, or they're phenomenal. But why is Trae Young not a starter? Why is he not even? It's just not. It's not even mentioned. I don't get that. I mean, they've got to change the voting, whether it's, you know, the voting is done by. I don't even know, because if you do it with the fans, it's still going to be a popularity vote. It's not going to be the best player voting, best players playing that should play. Because there are people that are left out that shouldn't be left out. I would not be mad if they did away with it. Turn it into something that's more exciting. Change it up some. Adam, I mean, this kind of brings it my thing of this, like Adam Silver talking about changing the games to 10-minute quarters. Like, why are we changing that? I mean, I don't get it. I don't know what they're doing. It's kind of all changing a lot, and I don't really like what they're doing with it, to be honest, because you got to think, like, the LeBrons, and how many more seasons do they have left? So who's the next man up, you know? It's just a popularity vote, in my opinion. And I'd like for it to change in some way to make it to where we have the players that deserve it are in, not just by like, hey, I like that guy, I want him in.
I like that. Say, you know, Abe, I go back to what Matt said constantly. And I tease him about it because he has always said Bronny James is an Eric Bledsoe type individual, type player, okay? I made the snide remark, and I said, you know, all it is, the NBA All-Star voting is turned into is for the LeBrons and the KDs, and I said, I'm not surprised we didn't see any votes for Bronny James on there. Someone came back and said that Bronny James is better than most players being selected, and Matt sits there and tells me, he goes, oh, you did see Bronny James's 30-point game night, right? And I go, that's a glorified college league is what I see the G League as.
They're professionals.
I want to ask you though, Abe, do you think Bronny James deserves to even be mentioned in the same like field as the NBA All-Star?
I mean, the NBA All-Star Weekend involves the Rising Stars Challenge. That's the only place that he would fit. I did see he got like 2 votes as an All-Star starter, like from someone, but
LeBron and his mom.
Yeah, I mean,
LeBron and his mom.
Look, Bronny belongs in the NBA. I'm not one of these that's gonna just sit there and hate. Like I watch the Hawks every day. Like, there's 3 players who don't dress. Like, there's a couple who are numbers 11 and 12 in the rotation. Like, Bronny's as good as those guys, and that goes for every team in the league. Like, he's fine at the end of a bench. Like, but yeah, I mean, regular minutes, like, that's a different discussion. But I mean, he's an absolutely fine player. He needs to develop some more, and I think he can. He belongs in the NBA. He doesn't belong on the All-Star team, though.
All right, so let's compare Matt's question. Matt says Bronny James is an Eric Bledsoe type player. Do you agree?
Well, look, ultimately, Bronny James's path to the NBA is going to be a try-hard defensive player who can shoot the 3 a little bit. And I'm not going to go all crazy and call him a 3-and-D guy. Like, it's not going to be quite there, but like, he's got the physicality and the body to be able to play defense a little bit. And that's what he's going to have to do, and he's going to have to work hard and expend energy on that end of the floor if he wants to make his impact. It's not going to come on the offensive end. But can he come in and be a pest? Like, sure. I don't think he's going to have the offensive game that Eric Bledsoe did. I don't think he's as good a slasher, and I don't think he's as good a shooter as Bledsoe was. But he can be a pest, and that needs to be his role.
Quality content and agreement right there. All right, Shane. I'm gonna. You're now Adams. You're Shane Owen. You are the NBA commissioner. How are you going to fix the NBA voting and the NBA All-Star?
Oh man, well, I like what Matt said. You know, like certain percentages on fan vote count and stuff. I would take, kind of a mix of, me being a fan of NASCAR, how they do their All-Star weekend and all in Charlotte. Well, they're actually doing it all kinds of other places now as well. But how they do their All-Star Weekend, the past winners of the race and champions, they all automatically get in. So it becomes a fan vote, popular vote for somebody to get in on the remaining cars left, and then they actually do like 3 heat races, and then the top 2 fan votes get in that didn't get into the race to start with. So we can kind of do maybe the fan vote decides like the last 3 players on the roster, but then I would also change up the All-Star Weekend with kind of what the NHL did. Maybe go to like a 3-on-3 tournament and take your All-Stars from each division and stuff like that, and do a 3-on-3 tournament, make it more interesting. I've resorted to watching the skills challenge and the dunk contest. That's about all I watch on All-Star Weekend anymore, because that seems like the most exciting things that go on, unless you just want to watch a highlight film and nobody playing defense during the All-Star game. But I say maybe you switch it up, do like a 3-on-3 tournament. Maybe even do full court 3-on-3, kind of shrink it down, make it fun, but make it competitive, but keep it in divisions, that way kind of everybody's got a shot, and then, kind of take statistically some of your better players in each division, and, you automatically got to choose between the best one on each team statistically that isn't in the fan vote or the media or the player vote. I think you could come up with a lot of things. I think that it would be fun, kind of changing it up, not just shrinking down the quarters, but changing up the game completely, to kind of fit the way it's run now, and, kind of get it back to a competitive type, something's on the line.
So kind of like bring back the fundamental side of basketball. Like we're used to seeing, like, there was some of that. I think it was actually you, Dustin, or Derek. One of you two shared it. How it was like in the old times. It was fundamental basketball. Then it was like the 70s. It was more like show business, and then it was the 90s, which was back to fundamental and show business. And now it's just everybody going and trying to shoot threes for post up. So it's like I want to see the basketball go back to the way it was, where you don't see teams scoring 135, 155 points a game. When here you're going into 3 minutes left into the fourth quarter and the score hasn't topped 100 yet for either team. And when it hits the 100 point mark, that's almost a surefire win. Like those were the good old days. Like I miss that style. Look, I understand players evolve. Everybody evolves in the sports. But like, I mean, I can't wrap my head around, like, why does it have to be everybody has to shoot threes? I mean, I've asked this question to Matt plenty of times, like, and I'm going to ask you this too, Abe. Do you think we will ever truly see another, like, actual true number 4 and a number 5 in the game? Or is it just be like a Victor Wembanyama, who's a freak at 7 foot, like 25, and he can shoot all the 3-pointers in the world and dunk all over the place? I mean, like, what do you think? Do you think we will ever see another player like a Shaq or a Mutombo or a David Robinson? Do you think we'll see something like that again?
I do think we will. And look, like it's going to be cyclical, right? Like you're going to get so many 4s and 5s that are smaller frame, kind of more mobile, probably a little bit thinner like Wemby is, that can shoot, that you're then going to have one dude that none of them can defend down low. That's an automatic bucket or foul trouble and that sort of thing. I don't know when it'll come or how long it'll take, because obviously you need a lot more of the true centers out of the game. There's still enough big guys in the game right now that I don't know if you get that, but I think at some point you'll have so many shooters that no one can defend down low, and it'll become cyclical again.
But see, and I just had to point out this too, is that, we talk about all these, guys that are shooting like Karl-Anthony Towns, who I think was like the godfather of, centers shooting from the perimeter. But that being said, I mean, we've had like Andre Drummond and Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams, and many others who have done it. But the problem is that they're not winning rings with that. So it's still there. It's just, you have to do you kind of have to give the attention to those who are making the shots right now. And that's like Karl Anthony Towns and, Victor Wembanyama and, the handful of other centers. I mean, Horford even, Al Horford's 6'10", so that's a small big man. That's a small center, but, you can contribute him to being kind of part of that style as well 10 years ago. So.
Absolutely. And look, Al Horford, which Matt will tell you, Abe will tell you, everybody can probably tell you, he was one of the most beloved Atlanta Hawk players. Everybody knows what Ryan Cameron used to call him was the boss man when he was like his name was called. So, Al Horford, great player, absolutely. But obviously we could try and figure out how to fix this. But Hank, I'm going to go to you because Hank Russell, you are the NBA commissioner. I want you to share how you think, how you were going to fix the NBA All-Star voting and NBA All-Star game. Go.
Well, first of all, I'm going to shave my head so I look like Adam Silver.
Already got that down for you, Hank.
Yeah, wait, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, and then we also got Dustin. Look, there's Shane and Dustin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not exclude Dustin. Dustin is he's got the shiny cue ball there too, sir. All right, Hank, go ahead.
Honestly, here's the thing, though. I haven't had a problem with the way this has been going the last few years. It's made it more competitive a little bit, in my eyes. Right now, where the NBA is at 46% rating drop for this year, if I'm not mistaken. Abe might have those statistics more than I do, but I believe it's 46% as of 2 weeks ago. 46% drop in the NBA at this time from this time last year. So. But to answer your question about how to change the All-Star game, there's got to be an incentive. The game itself is going to be what it is. They've tried to tweak it, and it has been more interesting since they've made it a little bit more competitive with that Kobe Bryant thing or whatever. But honestly, there has got to be a way to force the stars to be in this dunk contest because I'm telling you, that dunk contest, I mean, Matt McClung's won it 2 years in a row. Who is Matt McClung?
I don't know.
When was the last superstar that was in the dunk contest? Blake Griffin was a quasi-star.
Dwight Howard was in it. Remember, he was Superman.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, I'll give Dwight. Dwight was a superstar, but I mean, but that was what.
Like I want to see Ja Morant. I want to see Ja Morant so bad in the dunk contest. It would be so much fun.
You and me, everybody dude. That would be like the number one. Him being it because of what he is capable of doing. Just insane jumping.
Ja Morant, I'm 25 minutes away from your house. I'm going to knock on your door and make you get on that and make you get in that dunk contest.
I don't know, Hank, if you remember the story from what happened the last time someone came on the Ja Morant compound, but you might want to rethink that, big dog.
I know, but
hey, you're gonna get.
I'm from Memphis.
Hey,
I'm from Memphis.
Carolina, you got to watch him.
I'm from Memphis. I've been to his house before, so.
No, but seriously, like even like Jalen Green from Houston, there's so many players that would like. I like Matt McClung. I know who he is. I mean, I used to watch his high school tapes back in the day, and he played at. I believe he played at Georgetown. If I'm right, I could be wrong there, but he can hoop in the G League. I mean, we talk about the G League, but he actually can hoop. He just hasn't made that jump to the NBA yet. Like he's the lead. He was leading scorer in the G League last year. He's leading it, I believe, again this year. He can dunk the ball for. He's like a. When I think of him,
he can't defend. In
no,
the
he
NBA.
cannot defend.
That's the biggest
no.
issue. He's too small.
I agree.
Yes, because he can score buckets. I agree with you. And I remember him at Georgetown, and then he went to Texas Tech. But he just can't defend at all, and he's just not quite a good enough shooter. We get all the highlights. He's not quite a good enough shooter, though.
I
It's
agree.
unfortunate.
His defense is not great. It's not great at all.
No.
But I agree that's what holds him back. I mean, he's doing well in the G League, but I mean, I do want to see them these stars in the dunk contest. It's been a while since we've seen an actual star. Like for me, I'm glad there's a Spur in it this year. And I watch every game. I'm not really sure why he's in it. I didn't see a lot of dunk highlights from him. I don't know why he's in it. I think it was just a vote. Like I don't know, but I mean, I expect Matt McClung to win it again because I don't really see. I don't know. It's just not. It's not. I mean, it's like they're pulling from the G League for dunkers. I don't know why we're doing that. There's so many dunkers in the NBA. Why are they not wanting to be in the dunk contest? It's the most exciting to me. Again, like I said earlier, it's just the most exciting event for the weekend because Everything else is, it's okay, but it's an
Because-
exciting event still.
Because money ruins creativity. Thank you very much.
So all right. So I'm gonna ask you this, Abe. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next topic. We've seen what has happened with the Pro Bowl, as it's now turned the Pro Bowl games, and even that is a tragedy. It's terrible, absolutely the worst. Do you think they should just, hey, we'll vote you as an all-star, but just do away with the whole thing in general?
Yeah, I still think All-Star Weekend, and more specifically Saturday night, is probably more of a draw than the All-Star game itself. And so I would find ways to juice it up more. Obviously, like you guys have referenced, the dunk competition, finding a way to make that the premier event of the weekend. I don't think there's a good answer to how that they could do that. I mean, wild amounts of money is really the only thing you could throw at it, but I still don't know if people would do that. But yeah, the game itself is irrelevant. More people are interested in the dunk contest and 3-point shootout than the game. So find a way to juice that up. I don't know if you have to play a NBA version of knockout or whatever, but I would focus more on the skills aspect of that.
I just realized something off the top of my head. Why don't they do like they do in the MLB? And whoever wins the MLB gets the home court advantage in the NBA finals, kind of like how they do in MLB.
It's not. There was never the pride that the NBA never had the pride between Eastern Conference and Western Conference that Major League Baseball did, and even Major League Baseball's pride has been completely diminished with the start of the interleague play. There was always that real, legitimate American League versus National League thing. And you kind of had that in the NFL for a while before you got the crazy schedules and everyone's playing everyone. You just don't have that in the NBA. And there's so many guys in the All-Star game. Like we're just talking about Trae Young should be an All-Star. Like LaMelo Ball should be an All-Star. All right, those teams aren't going to be in the playoffs. Why is he going to go that hard to win home court advantage when it's not going to impact him at all?
Good point.
That's a good point, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's transition real quick here. Abe, you mentioned it right off the bat. And I texted you earlier. The Atlanta Dream, they're cooking, and they're cooking in a very good manner. Someone asked, "What's going on in Atlanta?" And I reposted and I said, "It looks like Atlanta Dream is in the win now mode. They've gotten some really good free agents that come over to the play for them." With the addition of Brittany Griner, my wife Cassie asked, "Is she really a good move?" And I said, "It's a good move for the fact that she is a disruptor." I'm not looking for Brittany Griner to score, 25, 30 points a game. I'd be okay with her scoring 5 points a game. But I would be absolutely thrilled as if she were to get average 10 to 15 rebounds a game, and heck, do 1 or 2 blocks. But mainly is lower the field goal percentage of the other team by just standing there, because she's a tall face in the NBA. Atlanta is doing great things. Do you think this is a win now mode, or is this win now mode and also for the future for the Dream?
Here's the problem is I think the WNBA is so top heavy with teams like New York and Seattle and Las Vegas, and Atlanta's trying to bridge that gap. But I mean, I think they were 9th in the East or in the WNBA last year. I think they barely made the playoffs. Like the addition of Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones, who they're also expected to sign as well, 3-time All-Star, WNBA All-Star. It feels like a long jump, man. Like Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray are a really nice starting pair. Then you add Jones and Griner in. But the best teams in the WNBA are so far and above. Like I'd have to go back and look at the WNBA records. Like it feels like they only lost 4 games all year, 5 games all year, and half of those were probably against each other. It just feels like it's a really, really long gap between where Atlanta is and where the top of the WNBA is. I don't know if they're going to be able to bridge that, but it's certainly got the fans excited. It certainly brought some interest and will bring some headlines.
Absolutely. And I do want to quickly mention this, and I don't know if you saw the article. ESPN has said Detroit has put in their name for a bid to bring back the Detroit Shock WNBA franchise. Obviously, they were there until 2009, and then they went to Tulsa, and then they moved to Dallas, and now they're the Dallas Wings. We've seen the WNBA expanding to Golden State, and then we're seeing them expand to Toronto. Names like Philadelphia, Miami, Orlando, New Orleans, all the big cities are starting to be mentioned. And one city that's been mentioned as well is Charlotte, possibly bringing back the Charlotte Sting. Do you think that Detroit is granted the expansion and they do get a WNBA franchise again?
It's going to be tough, man, because I know Cleveland's a year ahead of them, and Cleveland's been trying to get one with Dan Gilbert leading the charge there. Philly, I think, is probably also in that discussion. I don't see both Cleveland and Detroit getting one, so it's probably one or the other, and I don't really know who has the edge there. But this is the new age of the WNBA. Like for everyone who looks, this is what Caitlin Clark is doing. Is she is single-handedly expanding the league because people think there's money-making opportunities, and she's kind of spearheaded that charge along with some of the other young groups of players, and it's really interesting to see this many teams want to get in right now because that is not something that has happened before. I think Detroit's got as good a shot as any, but there's so many teams or cities that want to get into the league, and they're only going to be maybe two more teams added, potentially 4 if they can find a way to make that work. It's a small league, like they don't have conferences, right? Like I think it's just like 1 through 10 or 1 through 14, whatever it is, and the top 10 make playoff. I mean, like there's definitely room for growth and reorganization of this league. So the opportunity is there, but Philly feels like it has to be first in line. And then Cleveland, you mentioned Charlotte, Detroit, and anyone else can kind of fight after that. But I'd imagine Philly finds a way to get a team.
And obviously can't forget Houston. Look, Houston was the perennial powerhouse for such a long time in the WNBA. All right, so you cover the Atlanta United and the Five Stripes. They're trying to get the band back together. Miguel Almiron is back. I asked you, I think it was yesterday, this Emmanuel Latte guy, whatever, how you say his last name. Is Atlanta cooking in the right direction? Or do they need like 1 or 2 more players to help get them back to being on top of the MLS?
No, I mean, if you're able to add Emmanuel Latte Lath, who is a striker in the championship right now, that should be the final piece of your offseason. You've added Miguel Almiron. You traded for midfielder Mateus Click out of DC, who I'm a big fan of, and you bring back the majority of a team that eliminated Inter Miami last year in the playoffs. And so if you could stay healthy, like you can't keep asking for like another player and another player is what we need. Like if you get Latte Lath on top of adding Miguel Almiron earlier this week, like that's your team and you feel pretty good about it. You feel like you can win. There's no doubt about that. But no, if you get Latte Lath, like that's a team that they have put together that they believe can win MLS Cup this season. This is not part of some longer extended building plan. Like this is, you talked earlier about, winning now with the Atlanta Dream. Like, no, adding Miggy back and Emmanuel Latte Lath, if that's the reported move, that's to win MLS Cup right now. And so they're going to have some real opportunities to do that.
I am beyond thrilled. Almiron is back. He was a fan favorite. People, even during the time after he had left, I think it was he was borrowed or whatever. People were always wondering if he was ever going to have the chance to come back and be for the Five Stripes. And I can tell you, I'm excited. So I hope that we see the results come right away. So I want to ask you this about the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, the Atlanta Braves have had a very mute off season, to say the least. A lot of minor league contracts. You yourself even started the show saying that the Dodgers decided to say, hey, let's just take left and right and do the Bobby Bonilla bargain deal, and we'll defer all their payments till the year 2,300, with how they do it. But can this Braves team, with just the few additions that they had, can they actually regain their posture as the leading the East?
The East, I think they absolutely can. Now you got to find a way to tread some water early in the season. You're not going to have Ronald Acuna Jr. for at least a month, probably a bit longer than that. And I don't know the exact timeline for Spencer Strider, but you're not expecting him to be
Opening day
in the open. It feels like they're not talking about him ready for opening day, but it also doesn't sound like it'll be too much beyond that. So we'll see how the spring training ramp up. But I think you certainly get Strider back before you get Acuna. They can win the East, but they're going to need to play some good ball early in the season. You don't want to get too big of a hole and then have to dig your way out of it once you do get Acuna back and trade deadline and a couple other things. Ultimately, I'm not worried about the East. Like, look, obviously the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They're coming off a World Series championship. They added some really nice pieces in the rotation, in the bullpen, back on the field as well. The Braves just got to get in and get hot. And unfortunately, this is what has become of baseball over the past couple of seasons, especially since you've added the wild card round, is teams just finding a way to get in and hope they're playing good ball at the right time and a bounce or two goes their way. And quite frankly, I think that's what the Braves are going to be looking for. And to be completely honest, I'm comfortable with that being the plan. Like I think you get into the playoffs, and if you're healthy at that time, you have the right sort of rotation. We'll see how the bullpen runs out. And if you guys, again, if they're healthy and playing well, you do have an offensive lineup that can go toe-to-toe with just about anyone in baseball. But you got to be throwing the ball well at the right time and all that. If you can get hot, they can still win another World Series. And look, no one would have said they were the best team in baseball when they did win the World Series, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for again this year.
You know, I've seen reports that Atlanta has inquired about Dylan Cease. Who knows? Do I think Alex Anthopoulos is going to show his cards? No. We know that. We have known that since day one. He is, what is it? Hushes the mum's the word. He is zip it up. Don't tell anyone what's going on. And then
I've always said that he works in the shadows. He's like Batman. He does his work in the shadows.
Absolutely. Shane, you have a take on this. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, as you see it, a huge Braves fan. With the addition of Profar and all that they've done, they've kind of ensured kind of a middle of the lineup, like Abe said, you know, as long as they perform, you know, decent enough and have that, you know, kind of mesh point towards the end of the season, any team can win it if they're in it. So, you know, that's what you got to get to. You got to be in it. You know, I'm a true believer. We got to get that, you know, kind of force starter that, you know, that can fill in right now. When Spencer does come back, though, they'll move into the fifth starter role. So, you know, that would shore up the rotation. And I think that's one of the biggest things that the Braves have to do this year is shore up a true starting five rotation to kind of save some of the arms in the middle relief area. Great closer. You know, they just got to do that. You know, shore up the starting rotation. And I think that they'll be good, especially with the lineup that they've come up with. You know, I saw stats. Basically, Bryce Harper and Profar last year were tit for tat, and you know, we're getting them at a big bargain. But you know, as Abe said, you know, hey, you got to be in it to win it. I believe that they'll do great in the East, possibly, you know, win it. You know, we got to get past that Philly curse that we've had the past couple of years. When it comes to you know, games against them and you know, potentially getting that spot for the East title. You know, we were spoiled for 14 years in a row, and spoiled the past couple of years. So you know, that's one of the things that you got to work towards. And I think, you know, if you shore up that fourth starter in the rotation, which I've you know, kind of heard. You know, I know we don't want to give up too much of our farm system. But Chase out of San Diego has been mentioned as you know, kind of the shore up the fourth, you know, starter. You know, we saw Charlie go to Baltimore, and then, you know, we missed out on Max virtually signing for the same contract that Baltimore gave Charlie. So, you know, got to kind of think what Double A's thinking right there in the pitching situation. Especially they got him 17 mil, I think. I think shoring up your rotation, your starting rotation, $17 million, probably worth it. So I just think there's a couple moves that they can make. But hey, I think we'll be in good shape once everybody comes back, especially if they get hot and healthy at the same time.
All right, Hank, you got some more share on this. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, and y'all are boring me half to death talking about these Atlanta teams.
As long as y'all are out the playoffs and don't play us in the wild card round, we're all right.
Oh, I know. Abe, what you think Scherzer's gonna sign this year?
You say Scherzer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he joined the Blue Jays, I think, on 15.5 or 15 million, whatever it was. So, but look,
dang.
If they're not in it, the Blue Jays have always been a team that will try and make a run and cut bait. They finished 20 games out last year. They were 14 games below 500. So there's still a chance that Scherzer come trade deadline, especially if he's pitching well, which that was part of the hesitation was how he looked last season anyways between health and performance. But if he's pitching well, I would not – and it's a one-year deal anyways. Don't be surprised to see Scherzer move to the deadline if the Blue Jays are not making a run. And the AL East is obviously brutal with the way the Baltimore's been playing and the Yankees, and then Red Sox and Tampa are right around 500, and who knows where they'll pop out.
I was just about to ask you, Abe. We saw the report come out from Fox and also from ESPN that they can play again in Tropicana Field if they spend the $50+ million to renovate it, but knowing they're going to build that stadium, or Lord knows if they're even going to do it now. Do you think Tampa Bay is staying in Tampa Bay, or do you think Tampa Bay they're going to say see ya and go elsewhere?
Well, you're asking partially the wrong question. What you need to be asking is, are they going to stay in St. Petersburg? Or are they going to stay in Tampa Bay? And there's been a long-running feud between the Tampa Bay Rays and the city of St. Petersburg about their lease and whether or not – because they want to be in Tampa. They don't want to be playing in St. Petersburg, but that's where they have been, and that's where legally they have to be. And I know there's some adjustment right now. They're going to play – at Steinbrenner Field, where the Tampa Yankees single A have been playing there right off Dale Mabry. But I don't think they're leaving that area. The question is, can they find a way to eventually leave the city of St. Petersburg for Tampa Bay? And they just haven't been able to do so. Look, I've physically, when I worked down there, been at a ballpark christening, if you want to call it that, or groundbreaking ceremony. Like there were supposed to be new ballparks years ago. They never happened. So I don't think they're going to leave that area. But where they eventually get a ballpark set up is still, you could tell me they're building a new ballpark. I won't believe it until that thing's built and the lights are on.
I lived in St. Petersburg. I've been to Tropicana. I'm pretty sure you might agree with it. Tropicana is just to me, it felt like it was a dump. It was run down.
Well, it's not the ballpark. No one cares about the ballpark. It's the area. And they see area. What started as Wrigleyville and kind of the area around ballparks. You certainly know what the Battery has become. That's the new thing, right? That's the new thing for all of these teams that get new stadiums. Own the land around the stadium, build it up, make it a destination, and rake in the cash. And that's certainly what Liberty Media did with the Battery. Look, the Atlanta Braves had an opportunity to put a retractable roof on that stadium, so we aren't miserable every time we go to a game in June, July, and August. And they said, no, we're going to build up the land around it. You go to Tampa Bay, and you know this, Brandon, you go to either Ferg's or you don't drink at all before that game. Like, there's just nowhere to hang out in that area.
That is true.
If they could have built up that area, if they own the land around that, it wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't be moving. They would remodel and renovate and do what they can. They can't get the land around it. They can't make money off of it, and so they're finding somewhere that they can. And that's what every new team now, if you're building in city, right, like and you have a ballpark where you just the land is owned, whatever. Maybe you can't do that. But if you're putting your ballpark in a space where you can have some land, they're going to purchase land around it, build it up, make it nice, own it, rent it out, vendor it, and just rake in money. And any team that's why the Browns are getting a new stadium further south. Like any new team that doesn't do that it is just bad ownership.
Absolutely. Look, Abe, obviously we're gonna see what happens. We don't know just yet. We'll see in the coming weeks, months, whatever's with them. So before we let you go, Abe, Jesse Chavez has signed a minor league deal with the Texas Rangers, which the high single A affiliate plays 45 minutes away from where I live in Spartanburg. The newly acquired Hub City Spartanburgers are going to grace the minor league baseball system. They used to be the Downward East Ducks or whatever they were called, some weird name. Do you think Jesse Chavez gets a shot back at the pro levels, or is Uncle Jesse done?
Yeah, I think he joined on a minor league deal. They'll see what they have in spring training. Look, Jesse's not going to be sent to the minors, right? Like, he's either going to make the ball club as a reliever, or they're going to release him and so he can be a free agent and come back to Atlanta. We already know the deal. Yeah, I don't know what it is about him. Like, it's one of the weirder stories, of performance in the past 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, he's awful, but because of Atlanta,
but it's not even
in Atlanta.
Not like regular bad. Like, regular bad would be like a reliever with a 7.1 ERA. He's got 12.4 ERAs, with the White Sox or wherever. But he somehow puts it together. So, look, I'm rooting for him. I hope he makes the team. I hope he makes the Rangers out of spring training. But if you don't, come on home, man. We'll have a bobblehead night for you or something.
Amen to that one exactly. Abe, what is in store?
Glasses.
Yes.
Good one. Yeah, good one. For sure.
Absolutely. All right, so Abe, let everybody know what is on tap for this weekend and coming weeks for you at 92.9, sir.
Yeah, look, I got a show on Sunday from 3:30 or 4 o'clock. It's after a basketball game, so whenever that game ends, I'll be popping on the air. And I'm going to talk about a couple things that you guys have already touched on today. Like, this Trae Young story is not going to die down. Why is he being overlooked? What are the changes that can be made to the voting process? And I have an idea. About that. So you're certainly going to tune in on Sunday for that discussion. But Jason Longshore is going to join me, obviously break down some Atlanta United. The Miguel Almiron is totally re-entered. I don't know if you guys saw the video in the Atlanta airport.
Gave me the chills.
Yeah, I would say Kirk Cousins didn't get that, but Kirk Cousins probably didn't fly into the Atlanta airport. He probably took Arthur Blank Express and landed privately. But there's just not a lot of Atlanta athletes who are going to get that sort of reception in that manner. We joke about Jesse Chavez, and it'd be fun to see him back. But if Jesse Chavez flew in to the Delta hub, in Atlanta, he's not getting that reaction. So that was kind of crazy. People are really hot about the return of Almiron. So we'll talk about that. I'm gonna break, dude. The draft is a mess. I don't know if there's gonna be 0 quarterbacks taken in the top 5 or 3. So I'm gonna try and get some breakdowns of the draft, and then obviously we're a week away from the Super Bowl, so you got to get into some game breakdowns and kind of get into what the Chiefs can do to win and what the Eagles can do to win.
Absolutely. Hey guys, check out our guy Abe Gordon, 92.9 The Game. You see his Twitter handle right there. Go do whatever you got to do to follow him. Abe's got some really, really good takes. His show is called the Abe TL Show. Abe, when does it air?
Yeah, it kind of floats based on what's going on every weekend. But this Sunday, I'll be on from about 3:30 to 6.
There you go, guys. Check out our guy, Abe. Abe, thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. We always have a blast with you. And, man, we're looking forward to having you on again. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Matt, great to be with you again. Hank, when you start that combat sports show, I can help you out with the MMA discussion. Wrestling's all you. And Shane and Dustin, good to see you guys.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you, Abe.
Yep, definitely.
Hey, man. Look. All right, guys. I got to point this gentleman up right there. Let me get the look at the corner right there. Mr. Dustin, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are y'all, man? I'm doing
Good.
great.
Thank you for coming and joining on and spending a Friday evening with us. We have
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, man, we have a blast. Having any of our friends come on and talk some sports. First off, I want you guys to please again. Hank has already told you, but I want you guys to Matt, Hank, Shane, let everybody know what the new show is going to be called.
Oh yeah, well, we enjoyed it. We talked about it, man, and we're gonna go with ringside with the Sportz Nutz. Kind of cover all combat kind of sports. Wrestling, WWE, AEW, MMA with the UFC. Hey, we may even do, a couple other things. Hey, high school wrestling's, kind of coming to an end right now. State tournaments are coming up and stuff like that. So, hey, we're all about it. I mean, Hank can tell you more about, kind of what the show is going to be about, and kind of let them
Take
know.
it away, Hank.
Yeah, and
Take it away.
everything Shane said was right. All the the combat sports and pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is kicking up because we're in WrestleMania season right now. The road to WrestleMania will begin this Saturday, which is tomorrow for the Royal Rumble. But then, we're not going to take too long. With this is a discussion to keep you guys informed, and we understand there's an audience out there that loves this sort of thing. They love the single. They're not big into the team sports. That's a big one. A lot of people don't like team sports, and I don't know why, but I like it all. But if I feel like it, and I think if Matt, Shane, and Brandon and I feel like it, we can just if we get a little bit short on topic here, we can talk about celebrity stuff as well. It'd be fun.
As long as it's not Taylor Swift, please.
No, I was gonna go. I'm more of a baby oil P. Diddy guy myself, but that's
that's me too. Yes, I agree.
But guys,
we see enough.
Down.
We see enough of Taylor Swift on the Chief game, so she gets plenty of publicity.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about
absolutely. Matt, my friend, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well tonight, man. I really feel for you, man.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm just glad to be here, man. Just listening to you guys. So, hey.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick though, y'all. The promo, I promise you, it is out tomorrow. Matt is finishing up the editing on it, and he's gonna send it to me. I'm gonna pop it, and the guys are gonna pop it. We're gonna blast it left, right, up, down, you name it. It's coming. And I know we have a significant following. And I do have to point this out, guys. This is one reason why I love Abe too. I know you guys can't see everything that I can see, but you guys can see a lot, right? Right now, this is like I can't figure out why. Our Twitter, y'all, we're at 912 viewers right now. So out of those 912 views on Twitter, guys, if you are an MMA, you are a wrestling fan, guess what? We need you on here when that show gets going. Hank, Shane, Matt, myself, we're gonna break it down. I'll try my best to break it down, but I'm not really in that. But we will break it down, and we will tell you how it is. Look, I know you guys are gonna have a lot of fun watching this. All right, I really want to touch base with this. This is something that I saw. Matt is the one that told me about this. Look, as you guys know, we had a plane crash, unfortunately, in DC, and all 67 lives perished. However, there was another plane crash tonight in northeast Philadelphia. A Learjet 55 has crashed into the Roosevelt Mall. They're reporting minimum 6 people have passed away, but it is expected that number will rise. Y'all, I'm about to show you this. This is the video of the moment this plane crashes. Give it a second. It crashes into the mall.
Wow.
This is unbelievable. The news agencies are reporting mass casualties. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody involved there, as well as DC. Keep them, like I said in the beginning of the show, keep your loved ones close, hug them, let them know you love it. And look, even if someone has made you extremely angry, they're pissed you off to no end, call them, tell them you love them. That's all you gotta do, because you never know when you'll hear from them again. With that being said, all right, I'm eager to talk about this with Matt. Matt, we had this whole discussion lined up right here again with Abe, but daggone, what does Trey need to do to get the damn All-Star vote for him? What does he need to do?
He has to win. He has to be part of a winning organization, man, a winning team. And I said this, just prior. I really think he needs to be playing with another All-Star, or at least an All-Star caliber player in the front court. That's just the way it is, man. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it where somebody who's leading the league in one of the major statistical categories, not make the All-Star team. And that's happened with Trey, I think, twice. He's led the league in scoring at one point, and then he led the league in assists now, and he didn't get the nod. So we'll see what happens, man, if he becomes an injury replacement or what have you, man. But I think it's crazy. But at the same time, you got to look at it in its totality. The team is just not winning. I think they're 4 games below 500 right now. They're in the midst of a 6-7 game losing streak. And, unfortunately, like Abe said, the time that they had to put in their final votes, it was during this losing streak. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles today, man. Hopefully next year he can get it, but I think he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to. Well, he's gonna need another player, man, to get that team over the hump.
And I sent you that message earlier today. According to ESPN, the Brandon Ingram and Atlanta Hawks talk is really starting to gain some traction. Dustin, did you hear this too?
Yeah, I did hear that. I agree 100% with Matt saying that he needs another player. But I do think if he doesn't get that player sooner or later, I do think he's out. He doesn't want to waste any more years, if that's what you want to say, on sticking around that 500, not getting a nod on a. I mean, your team success unfortunately gets you in the All-Star. To an extent, it does. He's good. He's a great player. His shooting is inconsistent, but I mean, he's a phenomenal passer. And I said this on our show about a month ago: is I would love him in San Antonio with Wemby. I would love it so much. They would play great together. But listen, I would love it. They're going for somebody else right now, so I'm happy he can stay in Atlanta. I would love him, but he needs to be with somebody else, because I just don't see him sticking around much longer. If this is the peak of the team and they don't make the moves, why does he stay? Let's just be honest. There's not much loyalty in the NBA anymore. You don't see the Tim Duncans, the Kobe's. Mm-hmm. You don't see those players no more. I thought Lillard was going to be one of the guys, and I think he was kind of forced out of Portland. I don't think he wanted to leave, but he saw what they were doing with getting rid of McCollum, so he was kind of it wasn't good for him to stay. But there's not much loyalty anymore. It's win now or I'm going to the next team. I think that's just how it is now. So they need help. They need help soon, or he's out.
So look, I want to piggyback on that. Our good Matt was he can tell this episode too. We had Brandon Leak from 680 The Fan on early on, well, actually towards the end of season 2. We had him on, and Brandon Leak said, if Atlanta does not make the moves, then they're going to stay around the same place they're at, battling to get into the play-in between the 9th and the 10th position, and they're going to be excited to see at times, but just lackluster in general. Matt, I want to hear your take on this, and I know you have something for Dustin. Go ahead.
Well, Dustin, just to piggyback off of what you were saying about Trae Young, and how you had your eyes on somebody else, that wouldn't be a particular person in Sacramento, would it?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Like, give me an insight on that. Tell me, well, how do you think that particular individual from
So
Sacramento?
wait. Share who that name is, please.
That would be
Intriguing minds want to know.
Mr. De'Aaron Fox. I love it.
How do you think De'Aaron Fox would fare with Wemby and that whole crew you guys have now with Castle and Vassell and those boys?
So what I'm worried about is what they give up.
There you
That's what I'm worried about. But the surprising part to me about this, San Antonio doesn't make the flashy trades. This would be their last biggest flashy signing trade was LaMarcus Aldridge, and that was a big one at the time. That was right after the dynasty of the Spurs. Everyone was kind of retiring. Kawhi Leonard was in his own. He was whatever, But LaMarcus comes on. We get Paul Gasol. He was out of his prime. That was just another free agent, cheap signing at the time. De'Aaron Fox would be great for this team. For one, he can run for 1,000 miles. The tempo will speed up. They need a lot of tempo on the offense. He's not the best defender, but he's a better defender. Wemby needs the problem with the team. I'm watching them right now. They're lacking on the defense side of the ball. I heard before the De'Aaron Fox was a LaMelo. I went against that because I thought he could bring the defense side of the ball. But when we go to De'Aaron Fox, he can shoot. He's not a bad shooter. He's a phenomenal passer. He would bring another game. He would bring another game to the Spurs. He's quick, fast. The tempo would instantly pick up. They would be running the court, and that's what they need offensively. Because, you got Wemby can shoot. You got Castle as a rookie that's pretty good. He's still coming to his own. I'm worried. They're probably going to end up giving. I could see them losing what's his name?
Vassell Johnson.
Yes, I'm worried about him because I don't want them to get rid of him. They're going to get rid of him. I expect some good. I would expect at least a first round draft pick gone because I actually have some draft picks. They're going to get rid of their point guard. Not I can't think of his name.
Ty Jones.
Yeah, he's gone. They're not. Sacramento's not taking Chris Paul. Not at his age. Not that he's been great for them this year. Chris Paul's been phenomenal. He's given that veteran presence. Him and Wemby work well together. But I expect Jones to be gone. Possibly Vassell, probably Keldon Johnson. One of those three players, if not multiple, those players are gone. As long as they keep if they keep Castle, I'll be happy because I like where his upside is. What's wrong with San Antonio right now, in my opinion? We need Pop back. We need him back so bad. I know people think it's just a coach, but he's a coach that you don't want missing off your team. And when you're, they're 4 games under 500 now as well. We're in a good position. We just got to start winning games, and their defense is very lackluster in my opinion. And I think Fox will help a little bit with that because he's younger. Because Jones, he's good offensively. He can run, but his defense just isn't the best. I love it. I saw today on a Facebook page that I heard they're really close to getting this deal done, and it was from a good source. So they need this. They need him. If they get him, I think they make a play-in spot. They're not going to make a big run, but I expect them to get him. And then I hope in the offseason they get I want a 3-and-D wing. I would love, hey, Brandon Ingram, why go to Atlanta? Come San Antonio, man. What I really
Wait. Do you have that flag by chance, Shane?
No, I don't. I'm down in Charleston, man. All
right, so I'm gonna throw this. Here's the flag. You've been flagged.
Honestly, I would love to if DeJounte Murray would come back. Him and Wemby with defense, the length would be insane. He hadn't been, I know he's in Atlanta. That didn't work out. I didn't think that was ever going to work out with him and Trae Young.
Matt's
not
right in
because
that same boat with you too.
I did not think that was going to work because DeJounte Murray was the guy in San Antonio. He was leading scorer, assist, and you name it. It's the defense side of the ball. He was the best stealer. He was great for San Antonio, and I don't think he was. Again, he wasn't loyal. He was ready to win. Now went to Atlanta. They started off okay, but it didn't work out there. Now he's in New Orleans, which that's just a complete crap show down there. They're about to break that up. Zion will be out. Everyone's going to be out. Ain't gonna be.
He doesn't even want to be there either. I don't know if you heard recently. Zion Williams was sitting there saying that the organization doesn't want him to play back-to-backs.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't blame him though. He can't stay healthy. I mean, he can't. He the player he could be is a player he will never be. Plus, he needs to get away from all the beignets, man. He listen.
He's a big one.
Hey, I will say that strip in New Orleans, that strip is dangerous.
Oh.
All the food,
Yeah.
Listen,
all the good food by that.
Yeah, like I would if I was a basketball player, I'd be eating fried fish and beignets every day.
Or like you say in San Antonio, them churros, man. You know they got some big women down there.
San Antonio ain't no better. We got the food too. They got the women in the churros. So I mean, it ain't gonna be much better. But yeah, that's where I'm at with De'Aaron Fox. I hope they get this move done. I think it definitely makes them a play-in contender. You know, but that's about as far as I think this year, which is a step better than last year. But they got to keep Wemby happy because I think Wemby's phenomenal already. I mean, he is. I mean, inconsistent shooter. He can block 10,000 shots a game. I expect him to get Defensive Player of the Year this year. I was upset that he didn't get All-Star starter. I get it, though. In the West, he's going against all those popular players. He got a reserve. I found that out today. I was happy about that. I mean, it's a step. But De'Aaron Fox, they got to get him. They got to get out of the Spurs way and stop sticking in the 90s and just building through the draft. They got to start building within what's already here and people that want to come here. It's really rare to hear a player come out and say, I want to go to San Antonio because it's just not – it's never – I mean, it's a great organization, but it's just not a player that comes out and says, hey, I want to go to San Antonio. He's came out and said, that's where I want to go. They got to go get him.
Amen to that. All right, so look, Matt, I'm really proud to hear this. We are about to see one of the greatest wingmen, basically, ever to play the game. His number is rightfully going to be hung in the rafters for Golden State. Who am I talking about? No other than number 9, Mr. Andre Iguodala. His number 9 jersey is officially going to be retired as a Golden State Warrior on February 23rd, and y'all, well-deserved. Andre Iguodala is one of the best wingmen there ever was. If he ever becomes a coach, I think he will be a good coach. What do you think, Matt?
I agree, man. You go back to Arizona when he was at the University of Arizona. You go back there and went to him being drafted, I think, 8th or 9th overall by the Philadelphia 76ers. He was supposed to be Allen Iverson's running mate. People tend to forget that, man. But Iverson had his whole thing going on, and it ended up being Andre Iguodala's team. And people forget that team had Drew Holiday, Lou Will. It was a young team. They made a scrappy team, made the playoffs, and did some damage in the playoffs. But then they got broken up. He got sent on over to Denver. And after Denver got mollywopped by the Golden State Warriors, he decided to make his way over to the Golden State Warriors, where he was a pivotal piece in that. And that's crazy to hear somebody get MVP, Finals MVP for playing defense when the guy you were playing defense against averaged a 40-point triple-double. So that's crazy. But at the same time, man, he was the heartbeat of that team before Draymond settled into his role. So, hey, man, yeah, much respect to Golden State for retiring his number, man. You can tell the organization really cares for his players.
Shane, what we're talking about is Andre Iguodala. His number is being retired for the Golden State Warriors. Big move for him, so we're excited. Hold on. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you, but it's showing I'm backstage.
We can see you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. My phone's going crazy. It's showing backstage. So I was like, oh, what's going on?
So, what do you think? Are you? It's a good. Do you think it's a rightful move by Golden State to retire Andre Iguodala's number, or should maybe Philadelphia get into the mix and retire his number as well?
Well, I mean, he's probably one of the greatest six man of all time. So, rightfully, what he did for the Warriors and getting them over that hump to the championships that they won with Steph and Clay and them, I think he deserves that. Philly, it's, kind of up in the air. He was a great player for them, more so than kind of what he's remembered for as being one of the great six man, of all time. The Warriors are doing a rightful thing, and I think they're kind of realizing that their stock's kind of dwindling, so they've got to kind of memorize or memorialize these players that kind of put them on the top to where they were. And, Steph doesn't have many years, so you got to do it while he's still there.
Absolutely. All right, Hank, I'm going to go to you on this one because this is the talk around the NBA with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler this, Jimmy Butler that, Jimmy. Where do we start with you, Jimmy? All right, so Hank, I'm going to ask you, where does Jimmy Butler ultimately get pushed to? Obviously, he's done in Miami. Where does he go? Do you think he goes to a crapshoot team that is maybe going to win 12 games this year, or does he get a valuable chance to earn something for it?
That's a good question. I don't see him. I'm still, my head's still stuck on the Iguodala thing, but I'll just say this. I don't know. I mean, because of his because of his kind of toxic relationship with his past teams and stuff like that, and I hear he's extremely difficult to work with. He'd probably have to go on a lesser team to where he would have a little bit more of a humiliating or humbling experience, and be able to want to be a positive leadership on an upcoming team. And I just can't figure out who it is right now. I mean, what teams are not set right now? I mean, who's in last place? Detroit's doing pretty bad, but they've got Cade Cunningham, and I knew Cade Cunningham was going to be an all-star one day. So I don't choose Detroit. Sacramento Kings, no. Depends on the salary cap. I'm rattling off in my head all these teams and stuff like that. I can't think of one off the top of my head, really. I mean,
about the Wizards.
The what?
The Washington Wizards.
Tyus Jones is their point guard, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Matt, what's the answer to that one?
That is kind of like de facto point guard. Him and Jordan Poole kind of go back and forth, ball handler responsibilities.
If Tyus Jones is the point guard for the Washington Wizards, then that's where Jimmy Butler needs to enter.
All right, I like that. Matt, what say you? Where does Jimmy Butler go? Would you punish him or allow him the chance?
I think Jimmy Butler's going to stay right with the Heat. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think they're going to work it out. But let's say he does go somewhere. Obviously, Pat Riley and them are going to send him to somebody in their conference. They're going to send him to somebody in the West Coast, in the Western Conference. A team that can use him, like I said, they probably get something from the Warriors for him. Warriors, Clippers, team like that. Maybe the Lakers might even have someone packed for him. I can see him going to one of those teams, man. But I don't think, I don't think the Heat are going to keep him in the East Coast, Eastern Conference. He's definitely going to go out west for sure.
It remains to be seen where he goes, if he goes. Obviously, being suspended indefinitely right now is a pretty big move for Miami. Pat Riley, he don't put up with nothing. He'll tell you how it is. He's a real in your face kind of guy. I hope that whatever is metastasizing inside of Butler's head, he finds the help he needs for it. Obviously, he's not happy with what's going on. I mean, we've all alluded tonight that Trae Young could very well be in the same position. He's not playing where he rightfully deserves to be playing. I mean, he's in mediocre land right now, and it's just what the Hawks are. They're mediocre. We shall see. Look, guys, we have been to your ear for over an hour and a half. We've had a great episode. We had a good friend of ours, Abe Gordon from 929 The Game, joined us. We have a good friend right here, Mr. Dustin of Tires Sports. Dustin, please share with everybody where they can find you, man.
So you can find us on Facebook, Twitter. We're on Twitch now, streaming, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. We're actually live 4 days now. We have 2 other podcast groups that have joined us, On Time Sports and Sorry Advanced. They're live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're live on Sundays and Wednesdays. So if you go check us out, like I said, we're on Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're on it. So if you can check us out, on those days, and like I said, our network's live 4 days a week. So we appreciate if everybody would follow us and come check us out. We'll be live on this Sunday. We have we actually have a softball collegiate player joining us Sunday to kind of talk with us. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's pretty exciting. Look, we're girl. Like I said, I'm an all-girl dad. Matt's an all-girl dad. Shane has a girl dog named Miss Lily. So that's his daughter. Unfortunately, hey, not yet. Ladies,
I gotta get a girl.
Ladies, this gentleman is he's open for application. So give him a holler right now.
Hey,
sure.
You and me both, Hank.
Do what?
You and me both.
Yeah. Well, all she's got to do is not fuck up my dream.
I love it. Well, in that case, you might want to stay single.
Oh, Lord. All right. So, with that being said, we've had.
Can I say one thing or two
Yeah,
things
go ahead,
real
man.
quick? So I want to agree with Matt. I actually think Jimmy Butler ends up in Golden State. I firmly believe that. And we were talking about big mans earlier. One that reminds me of old school he's a rookie. I like Zach Edey. I think he is that old school can be.
Yes.
Yes.
He plays the true 5 position. He is built. I mean, he's like 7'4", 280, something like that. Right?
Yeah, he's a big man.
He's a big boy. And Purdue, the fact that Purdue never won the daggone thing with him, that just is mind-boggling.
Well, it wasn't
he's
his
a hell of a player. No, it's not. But he is a hell of a player. He deserved the team.
He reminds me of the Brook Lopez, not Brook Lopez before he started shooting threes. That's who he kind of reminds me of.
Oh, what do you think, Matt?
That's a great comparison.
I mean, he's not
I
there
like
yet,
that.
but when I see his gameplay, because he already has the size, he has some skills. I mean, he's only a rookie, so I mean, he's got to build upon. But when I see him, I see a little bit of Nets Brook Lopez in him.
This him right here. He plays for his team. What do you think, Hank? Do you agree? Zach Edey could be a Brook Lopez?
I like that comparison. I would probably put Edey more in the category of like. I'm trying to think about it. Maybe like a. I'm Rolodexing in the back of my head. I'm thinking maybe like a skinnier like Ben Wallace or something.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison
a skinnier Ben. I'm thinking of a skinnier Ben Wallace because, I mean, obviously he's only a rookie, but I believe that he can bang. I believe he'll be able to bang. And if you look at his face, he's wearing a mask right now, so he will bang with you.
Yes, he will.
And he bangs. And lives.
Don't sing that song that's on the. She banged. Look,
and
he was gonna do it too.
And he lives the La Vida Loca.
Oh my God!
Right. I just want to mention those two things because I was thinking about the players and someone you can kind of say is kind of old school big man ish type, and that was the player I thought it was going to be Joel Embiid before he started just jacking up threes all the time. So that kind of, he still can bang down low. Don't get me wrong, but Zach Edey doesn't shoot a lot of threes. So he's the closest thing to what we would consider an old school big man nowadays.
Yeah. And just
crazy stat, by the way, about Joel Embiid. He has missed more games than he has played his entire career.
And he's got paid over $200 million to do that. Is that not insane?
And won an MVP.
And won an MVP.
Yeah. I'm
That's
glad he
crazy.
didn't play for the Hawks. But knowing the Hawks, they may go and try and get him or something,
Hey, you know what's funny? We were just talking about the Hawks on Wednesday. The old school Hawks with the Josh Smiths and the Al Horford and the Jeff Teagues. Oh my! I love those teams, man. Like we were talking about these old school teams that, like Josh Smith. He was just a forgotten player, and he was so good.
I remember when you had 10 years ago when y'all had 4 All-Stars in the starting lineup. For the Atlanta.
That was crazy.
And Kent Bazemore should have gotten more credit than he did. But that's just,
the Baisleys. Yes.
The Grizzlies were trying to pick him up, but he was too expensive at the time.
Hey, Matt might remember this. Y'all might remember this too. The most memorable Hawks game for our man Kyle Korver was when he played against Jason Kidd and the Milwaukee Bucks, scored 11 points in like 60 seconds or something like that. It was crazy. And I remember watching it. And so Cassie and I were watching. We were living in Woodstock at the time, Woodstock, Georgia at the time. And Kyle Korver shoots that 3 and he makes it. And I'm like, yes. And Cassie goes, he's my favorite player. And then he does it again. And then does it again. And then he does it that 4th shot. It turned out to be one of them was a foot on the line. But she goes, holy cow. And I'm like, oh. And so, it was just like the most memorable moment I feel for Kyle Korver. Loved having him on. Loved having him as a Hawk. I hope the Hawks get back there again.
Hey,
all right, so let's go.
Silent assassin.
That's right. Played for Creighton. All right, so let's go real quickly here, guys. Tuesday, that is the episode you're going to want to be on watching us. We have the head football coach for Chamblee High School, Mr. Bob Swank, but also the newly acquired former NFL running back for the Baltimore Ravens, the current running backs coach for the Chamblee High School. I believe they're called the Bobcats what are they called, Matt? What is Chamblee's high school logo?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I gotta. For some reason, I keep having Norcross in my head.
You're not the only one, but Jamal Lewis. Yes, that Jamal Lewis, who was the Baltimore Ravens running back. He is now the running backs coach for Chamblee High School. They are joining us. The Bulldogs. The Chamblee Bulldogs. All right. I don't know why I thought the Bobcats for some reason. That's weird. All right, but they're joining us. We unfortunately, because Ed Reed had a lot of media commitments, I did get a reply back from his management team. He said due to having so many right now, he is not taking any more media invitations. However, once the season gets closer, he will consider doing more media interviews. We are on that list for the potential of having him on. Fingers crossed it happens. So next Tuesday, the 4th, we will have Jamal Lewis on the show. And so be stay tuned for that. Look, then we are really close, and this is what I'm waiting for him to give me a response back. It's almost a go. This is actually part of Tired Sports friend here, Derek, is friends with him, is the hitting coach for the Baltimore Orioles, Richard Cosgrove. He did say there's a very good chance he will come on February 7th for a good 15 to 20 minutes. That's all we will get on it, because obviously spring training is literally knocking on the door. So we will have him coming on most likely. We'll finalize that soon. Just stay tuned for that one. Can't wait for that. And then, guys, we're starting to get our bookings in for February. We're starting to get our bookings in for March, and we're continuing to get more. Matt is working with some potential leads. Shane is working with some potential leads. And ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman right here, Mr. Hank Russell, is working on some leads as well. We are bringing the content. We're bringing the heat. Want to give a special shout out to Our good friend Abe Gordon, thank you so much for coming on. We had a blast with him. Obviously, we always have a good time with our good friend Abe. Yeah, good episode. So before we go any further, Dustin, what do you say to these lovely people as your goodbye?
Well, I'm always about our network, so I'm always going to continue to shout out what we do. Listen, please, guys, come check us out on Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and again on Sundays, and check us out at Tired Sports Network on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Come check us out and come check out our show, man. We do all kinds of content. We do all sports. We're very big into recruitments and bringing coaches on, and Derek's a really big part of that. Derek is really our social media person. He works really hard on getting all these people on. So shout out to him. And like I said, we have On Time Sports and then Sorry in Advance podcast. They're part of our network, so check those guys out and continue rocking with them. Thanks to Sportz Nutz for allowing me to come on and hang out with them again. I really enjoy it. And just peace and love, baby. Thanks for having me on.
That's right. Hey, and just so you guys know, we're trying to set up something where at least, if not Matt, Hank, and Shane, a few of us will try to get. We're going to try and go to Waco this summer because we've really been pressing hard to get Baylor to come on the Daggone show. When we do, we might try and link up with Derek and Dustin. And
yeah,
who knows?
Let me know when that happens. I'm about 4 hours from there. It's not too far.
Where is this at?
Waco, Texas. Baylor University. I have been working hard to try and get somebody, and they are the most hush, silent group of people. Like for a public university, they're pretty quiet. So, got to really press to get them. So I'm trying to see if I can line something up, or at least some of us, if not all of us, can make a trip to Waco, Texas.
Hey, that's a beautiful stadium, by the way. I got to watch a high school playoff game in that stadium about 13 years ago, and it's beautiful.
The home of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's right.
It's too big down here. I'm tired of seeing it. I've been seeing it for too long.
All right, Hank. What do you say to these lovely people, man?
Hey man, keep God first, y'all. There's been a lot of tragedies the past couple of days, man. Y'all pray for the families, pray for yourselves, pray for others. Can't do nothing without him right now. I'm sorry, there's no argument. Y'all have a good evening.
Absolutely. And really quick, want to let you guys know, according to MSNBC, it is possibly in the 20s and up for casualties. Let's hope not. Let's just keep it with your family. All right, Matt, what do you tell these lovely people?
Guys, the weekend's coming up. Enjoy your weekend. I know nobody's gonna really be watching the Pro Bowl stuff, but Hawks play the Cavs, I guess. But anyways,
just do the big eyes too.
Just stay out of trouble. If you're going to go out there and you're gonna get intoxicated, man, make sure you guys call an Uber. I saw you, Brendan. You call an Uber, get home. Most importantly,
don't get flagged, y'all. Come on now. All right, Shane, what do you say to these lovely people, man?
Oh yeah, well, especially with recent events, hold your loved ones tight. Reiterate what Hank said. Hey. Good Lord's watching over us. Hopefully nothing like this happens, but you got to have faith to get you through. So, hey, we're going to try to get through the weekend. Hopefully nothing else happens. Have a good time. As always, peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease indeed. Look, guys, we've had fun with you. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your Friday evening. As always, we enjoy being in your homes. And as I always say, peace up, A-Town down. Why? It's the greatest sports city ever. Hey, guys, let's get it going. Hawks in this stupid losing streak. Come on. We need the daggone wins. Welcome back to Atlanta, Miggy. We're so happy to have you back. But we will be back again with you on Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday, Jamal Lewis, Baltimore Ravens will be joining us. Oh, and really quick, want to let you know, Gerald Riggs, by the way, Matt, you know who Gerald Riggs is, don't you?
I do.
Hank, do you know who Gerald Riggs is?
I don't.
He is an actual NFL Hall of Famer.
Yep.
He
Super Bowl
is,
champion.
Yep. He is going to set up. I'm supposed to talk with him Monday or Tuesday next week about which day he's coming on, but he's already said he's coming on the show. Yes, sir. We got Gerald Riggs lined up. So connect with that one. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. Go have fun with your families. It's supposed to be nice for most areas. The rain's passed out of here. And for those who are excited that warm weather's coming in the south, just so you know, Tuesday it's going to be 75 degrees here. Lord knows what the heck it's going to be. We're in Charleston, and
It was 80.
Dustin is. Yeah,
75 next week. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's crazy that the warm air is back, but don't be fooled because Old Man Winter's knocking again. He will be back in a couple weeks. Guys, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the outro video. Thank you to this gentleman right here for making it. Remember, the promo for Hank's new show with the Sportz Nutz will be out tomorrow. Until then, guys, have a wonderful evening and take care. Bye.